Hey everyone, so while I'm driving, I was giving some thought to the fact of how difficult it is walking in faith for something. And, you know, I have heard God in the past, and if anything, if people don't know by now, it's my desire to hear Him and try to follow what He says. And I try to follow His instructions, and that's all the part of giving up my will, in which I did in 2008. So I made it a point to surrender what I want to do and follow what He wants me to do. So I'll hear what He has to say, I'll follow His instructions, hopefully, if I don't let the flesh come in. But, I heard Him say to me months ago that He was going to help bring me from that place of slavery where I lived to the place of promise in which I am in that area now. But, I've heard many other things from Him too, that, there will be a need for my books, and that need will bring it forth. And I'm thinking to myself, how is this going to work out? And sometimes we as humans, we can make the mistake of trying to figure things out with our logical mind and how God is going to bring that about. And that's something that we can't do. We just have to keep following God and, see how that plays out. And that's where I'm at now. He said to me that He would provide stepping stones for me and that He would help me to get on my feet. And these are things that I have heard. But when we're hearing, we don't always know whether it's going to be us or God. So my test is time. After time passes, we're going to see whether or not we heard from God correctly. And, so far, I did hear Him say that He would provide a place for me, which He has. So I'm completely at His mercy and desire to follow His will. And, I don't know how my books are going to come out. I just know that, I'm walking in faith for that timing. Because I know that He didn't lead me into writing them for nothing. I know that those books will help break chains in people's lives. It will expose mammon in the lives of people. And more so, that it would lead the church into truly loving each other, and walking out and away from woundedness, to walk in full healing, to where, we're not going to have those hurts anymore, that we're going to seek God for His healing, and then we're going to be able to focus on others. Because it's in my thought that, when we're wounded, we're going to attend to that wound. And if we're attending to that wound, then that means that we're not focusing on other people. So we have to be healed so that we can view others, that we can be there for others. And so I am walking in faith for what God wants for me. I'm standing in faith for my books to come out. And I've talked to God about it. I said, Lord, I know You didn't cause me to write these books for nothing, because there was so much that I had learned from Him. And I can't see Him not bringing that to pass. I made the mistake of operating out of my flesh and out of impatience, and through my own strength, I put those books out. And because I did that, they didn't sell. No one saw them. It was like they were veiled. So it has to be in God's timing. you know, with him saying that there will be a need for your books and that need will bring it forth. I mean, the only way I can think of the books would spread is for people that have read them. So that's all I can do is, continue to walk in faith for God's timing. I don't know how it's going to come about. I don't know when, but I'm trusting him for that timing. It's not easy. It's not easy walking in faith for something because, our logical mind can tend to interfere. And so we have to put up our logical mind and say, I'm going to continue to walk in faith for this. Look at Abraham. He spent so many years waiting on God's promise of a son. And here he wasn't getting any younger, he was getting older. And so, time can weigh heavy on faith, as we had seen with Abraham. It was the most difficult thing for him. A lot of people could be like critical with Abraham, say, oh, you lacked faith here. Well, I mean, what if the roles were reversed? What if you were waiting for something from God for years and it didn't happen? I mean, you would think about how you would do it yourself. I've made the mistake of doing that. So, he continued to stand in faith for God until the Lord and two angels came, and he told him by this time next year he was going to have a son, and he did. And that was the fulfillment of that promise. So in the same way, I too am walking in faith, not only for my books to come out, but for the opportunities to be able to teach. I feel like I cannot keep all this information within me. That's why I'm sharing it on my YouTube channel. Because if what I learn can benefit somebody else and it could break the chains out of their own lives, then I have accomplished my task. That's I want to do what God wants me to do. I want to see people set free. And so, I created this YouTube channel, and for mostly that people could benefit from it. I don't have the opportunity to be able to teach. So this is my opportunity to do so. And so perhaps down the road, I will get that opportunity once people have seen my books and read the contents and it touches lives. Perhaps those opportunities will come. And I've listened to people or, told me to do things out of my own strength, send letters to churches, for me to teach. But it was all futile. It was no good. And then I tried promoting my book. No good. No one saw it. No one cared. And I'm not going to say that they didn't care, but it was like the books were veiled. So I'm just waiting on God's promise now. In his timing, for not only being able to, teach, but also for the books to come out. But not only that, but walking in faith for the woman that he has for me. I don't know who it is, and I don't know when it will be, but God knows, and it's in his timing. But, this is what I want to do. I want to be used by God, to help people. I want to see that church get to that place of unity, and where we're not operating out of our woundedness. We're not operating out of our past issues. We're not operating out of pride or anything else that would keep us from fully loving one another. So I just wanted to share this with you, and I don't understand what's up with my camera. It's kind of weird. But I pray that, if you're walking in faith for something, you can totally relate to what I'm saying. Maybe God has promised you something, and it hasn't come yet. And you start to wonder if it was really true, if it was really from God. So, it really takes being in that place of, patience and allowing God to bring about that promise. So, if you're watching this video, I'd love to hear that if you're walking in faith for something, put down below if you would like and share with me, what you're walking in faith for. So thank you for taking the time to watch.